I think we might lean a little more towards a professional look. I know the Kings are trying to set a standard too, so I don't want to deviate from that plan either. I'm a team player, and we've got a reputation to uphold. And I think we're going to show up looking very sharp, but at the same time, it's something that's not just going to look like, suit and tie bullshit. It's going to make people say, wow.
Well, hold on. First of all, don't
Nothing
shoot
against
for
the
the
suit and tie,
folks.
The suit and tie is great.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know we were going to have words on this show right now, sir. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a pretty good one. We've got an incredible guest who's coming here in just a second. That's just me, but you can see our guest here getting in a little bit of coffee. He's ready to chat here in a second. But before we get to him, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, I would love it if you check us on out at patreon.com. But Raph, what if I go to patreon.com/grappling hour? What do I get there? Here's what you get. You get to see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you get extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies where we watch matches with the athletes, a segment called Roast Raph where people roast my competition footage, your favorite segment, not mine. And you can also see additional types of things that we do, like where we ask people about their favorite matches of the year, their favorite fights of the year. And of course, there's the Grappling Hour Challenge where people can pick out of a deck of cards one submission where they have 2 minutes to hit that on me. Ask some friends how that went, like Cody Steele, Chris Wojcik, William Tackett. Just saying, I'd like to see how that goes. Here's the caveat, though. I get to roast them as they're doing that stuff to me, which is not a very fun segment. Actually, most segments here are meant to just beat me up. And I'm arguing this. I feel like I want to do this segment, and I think this is a good guest to talk with. I want to do a segment called Meal Prep, where the individual on the other side of it either walks me through their meal prep that they do that keeps their figure nice and tight as they're competing, or if they're like this gentleman here, they boast themselves as excellent cooks or grill masters. So more on that in the coming days, but I feel like that's a 2026 goal. I'll make that one for myself. Patreon.com/grappling hour. Additionally, you can get some Grappling Hour hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops. And here's a rule that we're setting forth in 2026. If you get a Grappling Hour tank top and you want to show off the gains, I don't care if you're on steroids. But if you are not wearing a Grappling Hour tank top, we will call USADA on you. That is a policy we're doing going forward. Where can you find that? It's at rafasparza.com/grappling hour. So get you a Grappling Hour tank top to show off the guns. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, by the end of this interview, I will give you something to comment on. So don't tell me we don't give you prompts. We do it for every guest. And last but not least, you can check us out on our Discord if you want to continue the conversations we have here on the show. All right, let's get to our guest. Well, it surprises me that this guest hasn't had the full Grappling Hour experience. He's been on Running the Gauntlet. He has been a prominent member of the family, whether it's through social media, where he is encouraging me to go out there and lift the heavy things that Asim is telling me to do. It's very nice, very inspiring. Not inspiring seeing the bulk that he has put on and chasing that, because I think I have to lift a lot heavier and a lot more consistently to get where he's at. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm good at showing up. But like yesterday, somebody took the other kettlebell that went with the pair. That's the lowest level of kettlebell we have. And I went to the second next lowest one. Was not going to do the exercise like that. Cam would. I wouldn't. That's just how we work. But nonetheless, I'm very excited to announce that this gentleman is going to be again on the PGF, but this time a little bit different. Yes, it is at 175. Yes, it is in Vegas once again. But this time he is an official signee of the Kings going into the draft. So I want to know all about that and much, much more. You may know him from the PGF. You may know him from his incredible run at ADCC trials, but I know him as the guy who got pinned the last time we rolled. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one Cam Hurd. Cam, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Rav. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
You're welcome. It is a pleasure to see you back here. Thank you, by the way. You're stealing the sauce now from me. You told me off air there's something that you picked up when we were flow rolling the last time,
Yeah.
getting you ready for a tournament. And I can tell you there's nothing that makes me happier. The thing I'm worried about is it appears you and I are rolling again soon, but I feel there should be a law that you can't do that one to me.
That there's no such law.
You know what? We're making one right now. Because why else am I teaching you moves? The whole point is so that you can do the moves to everybody else and win in the big competitions, not to me.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it's nice to show you appreciation of how much I appreciate you showing me these positions.
No,
And the
I'm
other
good.
people
You
that
you
I'm doing
told me
to,
all the nice things you could right now, and I
it's only
take you at your
fair.
word.
It's only fair that if I get the opportunity, I can put you in that jail as well.
I'm just letting you know now that you are free of that tournament and that incredible performance that you did while you were out there, I am free to hit you with all of the nonsense that I was not hitting you with. Because you were even wondering, you're like, hey man, I thought for sure I was gonna get hit with like a sharpshooter or something. And I was like, I don't want to hurt you before
Yeah.
your tournament. Now
Thank you for looking out for me. I appreciate that.
out the window, 100% happening, sir. So I would tell you this. Cam, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Back on the show, I should say.
Thank you.
What for you was your favorite moment of 2025? You know, we're just starting 2026 here. You have an incredibly busy plate already set for you. But what was your favorite moment from last year?
Oh man, that's a tough question because it was a really good year. There was a lot of highlights, a lot of success, a lot of things that I feel like I've been working on, for years and just kind of waiting for things to come to fruition. And I think 2025 was a real breakthrough year for me. Um, I honestly think one of the highlights of my year last year was my super fight at B Team um, against Nick Matea at the BJJ World um, event that they held there at B Team, which is now Simple Man. I knew Nick had a really good resume. He was a really good competitor. He is a really good competitor, and now, even after trials, we're tied up at 1-1. We've both submitted each other, so we're waiting for that trilogy. But going into B Team, having a B Team guy, a big name, big performer, and to be able to pull off a first round submission, kind of from an area that I don't think anyone expected that fight to end. Nobody expected a submission to come from, bottom guard from either one of us because both kind of top heavy wrestling type pressure players. And to be able to pull that off, I kind of surprised myself. We put a lot of preparation into that event. And I trusted myself. I will say my first ADCC victory, which was in Atlanta in May over Kevin Buring, it came in the finals, was like another one that kind of just helped me validate myself to myself and just really build my confidence and let me know that I can do those things that I tell myself that I can set out to do. And beating Kevin kind of helped me cross that threshold of being able to trust myself and trust my jiu-jitsu and trust the way the role in the room can be carried over into the competition setting when my mind's set to it. So that came almost back to back. I guess, I won the ADCC Atlanta, got that under my belt, went down to that super fight with Nick Matea, pulled off first round submission against him. And then I was like, I'm really where I I think I should be. And it just helped me validate with myself and get confidence that carried out throughout the rest of the year, to the successful resume that I was able to build up in 2025.
I want to commend you for that, dude. Like, legitimately, I can't tell you how many conversations with my students that I had about you in particular, where I just said, like, hey, man, if you want to see somebody who's just trusting the process, whether it's through his strength and conditioning, through it's his show up to your best effort and try to always show up on your weaknesses while you increase your strengths. Like every time you put yourself out there, I just said, like, man, he's inching up, he's inching up. And then you were on a incredible run on these ADCC opens. So as you were building throughout the year, I could see you were taking that momentum from the PGF and the shine you were getting from there, which is a great experience into itself. And you had great moments there, some incredibly high-paced, fun matches. But then you found a way to take that entertainment value and still carry it over into that whole competitive season you had in 2025. So that's why I didn't even want to start anywhere else other than to one, acknowledge where you've been so that we can look forward to where you're going. I have one more question regarding that, which was you came so incredibly close with the ADCC trials. Have you gotten, though, to a point where you can see exactly how impressive your run was, though? Because when you don't accomplish the goal, sometimes that gets lost. But to the rest of us, man, you were looking very good and very, very solid throughout that tournament.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like now I've had enough time pass between now and trials to where I've let it sink in. Obviously, I didn't accomplish the goal that I set out to accomplish. I didn't win it. I didn't punch my tick to Poland. But the consolation is, well, you did pretty good. And, ultimately that doesn't even mean anything. Um, Pretty good's great. It is good to see the steps forward, the progress that I've made, where I've come from, where I'm at now in a short amount of time. But ultimately, you can't start getting complacent. I can't let myself really hold that as a, you did pretty good. That's good enough. I don't want to start. Those are easy, slippery slopes, I think, for my mental, anyways, where I've got to kind of stay away from allowing myself to pat myself on the back too much for my performance. Was it a good performance? Yes. Was it good enough? No. So I got to be real careful, I think, with allowing myself to feel comfortable with the performance. Was it good? Is it a good gauge that I'm on the right trajectory and that I need to keep trusting the process and that, what I'm doing is working? Yes. But did I get the job done? No. So we're right back to the drawing board and we're going to keep doing what we've been doing because, like I said, at least I know that I'm on the right path. I'm on the right trajectory. I'm just not there yet.
What I appreciate about that is it's perspective that is important. So it's something that I talk a lot about with my guys is I say, hey, listen, nobody wants you to get too comfortable losing. That's not the point of it. It's more so when you can become that objective that you can pull what you need from it, which is okay, this or this could be a little bit better. Or I saw my takedowns were good, but my passing could maybe be a little better. Or my guard play needs to get a little bit more work. Like those are the more important takeaways. It's just hard to accomplish more if you can't see exactly what you did well so that you can focus on what you need to do to get to the goal. There is one or two matches that I did have a question about from the trials experience. There was one moment where it felt like there was this giant break in your match. What was going on through your head? And because I refuse to listen to commentary, even if they offered it, I don't think they offered it on that one. But in anybody's mindset, what is happening there? And can you give us more explanation as to what that stop down was all about?
Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about my quarterfinals match with Colby Gonzalez, who,
Correct.
first off, shout out to Colby. The kid's like, he's a teenager, man. I mean, the future of the sport's very bright. He's a fellow lasso athlete, so I got a lot of respect for him. He did a lot of amazing things last year. He's got, again, a very bright future. And we had a heck of a match. He's a extremely tough wrestler, extremely tough grappler. But yeah, it came down to pretty much just a close decision. And also there was a little bit of a controversy over a stoppage which occurred right at the table, which he actually split his eye open. We were going into the table, he hit his head on the table, it split him open, so he had to get his cut cleaned up. And then at the same time, they're looking at replay on when did the clock stop, when did the official say stop, and what the reset looked like. So, they ended up putting some time back on the clock. They started us neutral. There was like a 5 or 6 second, spurt of just madness there at the end of the overtime. And even after that, they were like, this is such a close decision. We want to bring Mo over. They went and got Mo. Mo came over to our mat. They, broke it down. He watched replay, and they just wanted to make sure they got the call right. And I felt confident, knowing what we had done in the match, that I had won the decision. And so I was kind of just waiting to see what they said. They actually came out and gave us the opportunity. If we wanted, they were going to give us another overtime. They just said, we know how close this match is, and we want to give you the opportunity. If you both accept, you can take an additional overtime to decide this. And Colby pretty quickly agreed to the extra overtime, which to me confirmed that I knew I had won the match. And I felt like I did. His reaction kind of confirmed that for me. My coach talked to Mo and talked to Colby's coach, and then, he came up to me and said, it's your call. I said, I think we take the decision as it is because we've done enough to win the match, and it turned out to be true. So I advanced on to the semifinals where I'd take on Jacob Borneman, the eventual champion.
So, just from my perspective, I have seen legislation pass faster on C-SPAN than I did there. So I was legit watching that for a good amount of time. Now, mind you, my eyes have to dart around looking at different things throughout that whole weekend. And I am not as smart as I normally am because of the the telethon nature of those things. So by the time we're really getting down to the thick of it, I'm like, what's going on? It's Cam,
Yeah.
is he advancing or not? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, great. We got to get Mo, I'm sure. We got to get some clarification here. And then I just saw you and him talking for a while and just being like, hey, what's going on, man? That's crazy. Yeah. What are you doing next week? And I go, why am I watching this? Like, just tell me who's advancing. And I swear to God, Kim, I should probably just go back and watch the footage of me narrating those moments because we just lingered on that footage and that time for so long. I just was inventing things that I thought was happening. So it was just like,
Yeah.
well, it looks like Mo showed up. Well, that's good. We should have an answer in 20 more minutes. So that's good. And then
Yeah.
as that's happening, I go, well, we don't want to get this wrong here, people.
Yeah.
Let's just speculate what's happening here. I'm just gonna say that Cam is saying like, no, I won, and if you would like to trial by death combat, we can do that as well. So I
Yeah.
don't know, man. It was kind of wild to me.
It was wild. And honestly, I mean, it was crazy to be out on the mat. At that point, there's fewer amount of matches going on because they've narrowed it down to the quarter.
Yep.
So honestly, it was just kind of a cool moment to be present out there on the mat and look around, see all the people watching, and just be like in the moment and really enjoy it. Be like, this is why I'm here. This is the drama. This is what I worked for. And just kind of soak it all in. And, it felt pretty good. It was cool. And yeah, I mean, being friends with Colby, we were kind of just shooting the shit while we were waiting on the decision. Like, hey, man, you're a warrior. I'm a warrior. Hell of a match. Good job, whichever way it goes. Best of luck to you if you win. Hopefully you're pulling for me if I win. So
Pretty cool.
it was a cool moment. It was definitely added drama, but it was cool.
Did you have a particular favorite moment from that experience, though, from the whole ADCC trials experience?
My favorite moment from trials was probably being in the semifinals. Again, it just the later you get, the more narrowed down it gets, the more mat space you get, the more eyes that are on you. Being in the semifinals felt really cool. There's only on that big two matches going on all that mat space. And just being out there and having all those eyes on me, it felt really good. It felt really exciting, but at the same time, I felt really comfortable out there. Like I felt like this is finally I'm here. This is what I've been waiting on. And obviously that match didn't go the way that I hoped. Jacob had a hell of a weekend and put on a great performance, and earned the decision over me, which I have no quarrel with. And just being in the semifinals to me, and the third and fourth place match again, just being one of those featured matches and finally getting on that big stage that I've just been waiting my whole career to finally be on. It felt good. But again, there's still the sting of it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. So I'm not done yet.
You aren't. Let's get to how you got over it though. Because you put up this post that I think is fair, which is the like really great shot of you kneeling, like after having to kind of sit in. And most people won't necessarily post that photo, but you posted it and let that be the statement like, this clearly affects me. Like, I wanted this so bad. But people get stuck there a lot of the times. So, at what point did it kind of click in like, hey, man, I'm going to have my acknowledgement and I'm going to move on? Like, how did you cross that in order to then do what you need to do to get towards your next series of goals?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like after each performance, it's important to just kind of break it down, whether it's good or bad, um, and just let it be what it is. You either won or you didn't. And you can whine about it, you can bitch about it as much as you want, but it's not going to change the outcome. So to me, to just address a win or a loss and be like, this was good, this was bad, it's all just data for me because my career's not over. I'm not retiring right now. So whatever my last performance is or was is just going to be preparation for my next. So these posts for me are accountability, to hold myself accountable, to not make excuses, and just basically tell it what it is. This is what happened. I went out there. I felt confident in my preparation. I literally left no stone unturned. I was in the best shape of my life, and I left it all out on the mat, and it wasn't quite enough. And that just means I got to work a little bit harder next year. Um, so that just helps me put that gas in the tank and have that chip on my shoulder, to own it and own that, I can make excuses and say why I didn't lose, but I lost. So there's really no excuse that's going to write it off other than just owning it and putting that in your mind and logging it in the data and moving on to the next thing.
That is such a healthy way of doing it. So I commend you for having the ability to do it. I feel like those are the people who are undeniable, who can be honest with their assessments and then move faster to the next thing. Because lo and behold, right after that, I saw you right back at what was that, North Carolina at that
Yeah.
ADCC Open. And I
Yeah.
thought to myself, I was like, I don't think you need to be there, but you have all these other pretty medallions that you have gotten, like all of your other medals. And I thought, is he just trying to complete the set now? Like, what's happening? And
The Infinity Stones.
the Infinity Stones there, perfect. See, this is how I know it doesn't take much to really get under the mindset of an athlete in our sport because you're like, okay, one medal's cool, but can you make an infinity gauntlet? And athletes are like, what? I didn't know that's a thing. It's like, maybe it is.
It
Go complete the set or don't. And it's like, dude,
is if I say it is. Yeah.
now it's going to cost me $1,000 worth of entries to go find out if I can complete this infinity set. And that's not even including all the bones and parts of my body that are going to get broken to do this. But you also had
Yeah.
another incredible run there. So
Thank you.
compliments on over to you, sir.
Yeah, and
Let's
initially the plan was to not do that open. I was planning on ending my year with trials, but of course I got FOMO. I can't miss out. And I had a bunch of teammates that were doing that one. I've got great sponsors like Lasso right here that help me, get out and compete, and pay some of those entry fees and traveling expenses and all that stuff. So I figured why not? And, being in the holiday spirit, I wasn't going to cut any weight. There's been plenty of eggnog that had been consumed. So I just jumped up, figure why not end the year on a challenge too and go up to 91 kilograms. Um, Definitely not my prime fighting weight, but why not? I'll get in there and give it my all. And had a hell of a fight. Got second. Great match in the finals. Could have went either way. Uh, so yeah, just wanted to end my year. I wasn't quite satisfied. Still not satisfied. Never probably will be. But I figure why not jump in, and what else am I gonna do? Sit
Good
at
for
home,
you.
get fat?
I mean, that's my MO. That's not your MO. I just want to point this out though, Cam. You said something, and I don't know if I can let it pass. The thing you said was, oh, if I had won trials, I wouldn't have gone to that open. I'm not 100% sure that's exactly it. Because when you mention that and then immediately get to FOMO, the same people were going to be competing from your team. So even though you would have been sitting pretty with your new championship belt or medallion to complete the set, I feel like you're such a game person that if you had walked out of ADCC, all things considered healthy, like you did here, I can't guarantee that you would have said you wouldn't have done
I can't guarantee it either.
it.
Because honestly, too, in the back of my mind, I won 4 ADCC Opens last year, and one of them being nationals. Five's a nice round number. That would have been in the back of my head. Trials is different. It doesn't count as the Open. So to get 5 plus trials, I probably would have talked myself into competing. You're
That's what
right.
I'm saying, dude. Do me a favor, don't lie on this show. Like
Come
liars
on.
never go forward in this show because there's always a moment where I feel like if I'm on screen and people see me listening, like there'll be like a head nod. If anybody ever sees me stop and they see the computer go to work, they're usually like, "Uh-oh, he heard something that he knows is not true," and that's why I'm like, who are we kidding here? You would have had the same FOMO, but the difference is you would have had the option to choose. I'm just saying, how often is it going to be in North Carolina? Which, all things considered, a little bit closer
True.
than some of the other far distances that you've gone through. Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much: there's an ADCC Open out here on January 24th.
San Diego.
Yes, and wouldn't you know it, I'm of two minds of it because ADCC is not my rule set. It's not something I do. But here's my two minds of it. There was another tournament that went up, and there's an NABJJF. It's literally closer to my people. And some of my students were like, Coach, are we? No, you're not doing ADCC. None of you can do that. And I was like, if y'all put in the time and really worked hard, you could convince me to do that. I was like, we're going to NABJJF. And everybody was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I was like, yeah, I can't tell if I'm happy or sad they're taking some good competition away. Cause like
Yeah.
I just need old people to be pretty good rounds, not monstrous rounds. Cause these motherfuckers that come over and do like ADCC trials are always like, yeah, dude, I'm real hungry. I want that medal. I want to be like Cam Hurd. I want to get 5. Give me this shit. And meanwhile, I'm just like, listen, I want good rounds. I want fellow old people to be able to walk after this shit. I don't want to go through any tables. I just want to have a respectable day of competition. So I haven't quite decided where I fall, but I did see some people in my bracket, which made me happy, except the Nogi bracket for old people. Currently, I'm the only one there so far.
Come on, guys, step up.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't usually do both. So this is the first time I was like, all right, we'll do
Well,
both. And next thing you know, I was like, wait, I got people in gi and not no gi? No, 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 reverse that. I want the other
yeah.
thing. So to be determined on how that goes. So very excited for that. All right. Cam,
Good
let's
luck.
talk about this though. You have this incredible moment now because you get this great experience with the Kings the last time you competed at the PGF. Last year, you became like this ambassador. You showed up like $1,000,000. And I had my eyebrow raised a little bit because you didn't need to be there. But maybe I was hearing rumblings that a certain weight class was going to happen. I do the math and I'm like, well, he's this fat right now, but he can be this less fat in a certain amount of time, especially given a certain mutual friend that we both have.
Yes.
I just didn't call you out on it, but I looked at you and thought, things look very good. So let's just talk it out. One, how does it feel like to go into a season of the PGF not wondering where you're going to be and to already have a home?
It feels great, especially knowing what team I'm on, knowing that I'm with the Kings, the team that's going to win the next season. So I'm really excited to be working with Ricky Lundell, Travis, Kevin. Last time I was on their team, we took it home. And I don't think it's going to be any different this time. And yeah, I mean, being there last time, I was out there for ADCC Nationals. The timing worked out great. Anytime I can be at the PGF, I want to be there. I love being there. I love the energy. I love the people. It's family at this point. I wanted to be there and show my support for New Hope and the Kings, and also Jet, being a former teammate we were on the same team for the last 175 season, which we were both on first form with Hanato. Um, and we had a really good season. We came in second, and then obviously the 205 season, I was with the New Hope Kings, and we won as a team pretty dominantly. And I just think New Hope's it's the first franchise team. They were the first team to jump on board. The team is it's everything about the PGF is special, and everything about the PGF is professional. I just think that the Vegas Kings exemplify that to like another level as far as professionalism and the standard that they're holding, the standard that they're setting going forward. And I'm really excited to be able to work with the Kings. And I think that having Jet and I as the foundation, we've both got a lot of PGF experience, and we're both kind of on our ascension of our careers. And I just think that it's a magical concoction that's going to come together and lead to the next team championship, which will be the Vegas Kings on season 9.
Beautiful, because I literally just got a message from Jet that I'm going to interview him later this week. So I'm
Nice.
making the rounds here, people. But just conceptually, I like you and Jet on the same team for a number of reasons. Again, it's that you both provide interesting talents to a team. So as you fill out a team, it's almost like you have to start thinking this is almost like basketball. Like you're assembling, even though they don't all play at the same time, they all serve a certain purpose. So like one of the things that you were providing when you were on the Kings the last time is that when you were on Team New Hope, you became this incredible stopper when you needed to be a stopper, incredible pace setter when you needed to be a pace setter. And then when you had fire matches, bro, like you and Jacob, still one of my favorite matches, just insane, throw shit against the wall and entertain the masses. And that's before we even got to the money bags. Now you're in a season where they can throw that shit at you, and I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah.
It does beg the question, though. Does one who's already been signed have to go to the draft? Because if you didn't have to go to the draft, we are robbing ourselves of somebody who might be ascribed to be the best dressed at the draft. So, sir, will you and Jet be at the draft this year?
So I did ask BMAC, what are the expectations for guys, that are already on a team? Do they have to be at the draft? Do we need to be at the draft? And he was like, you don't have to be at all, and I kind of stepped back. I was like, I shouldn't ask my question like that. I'm blessed to be here. I'm thankful to be here. I don't have to be anywhere. I'm very thankful to be here. But do I need to be at the draft? No. But will I be at the draft? Absolutely. I got to show up, and I can't let Chris Olivo come out here and try to steal my crown. So, he's going to be there. I'm sure he's going to look good, but he's got no shot. If I'm there, I'm the best dressed, period. So I got to show up and I got to defend that title. And I just cannot wait to step out and show the world the next level drip that we're going to have going for this draft outfit.
This is my favorite aspect of you. Even the shit you don't have to be competitive about, you're competitive about. Like, there's
Everything.
no extra money that you get for having the best drip possible. But it's such an important element for you that you're like, no, I'm so sorry. You
Dude,
might be
this
mistaken if you thought you were taking that title home.
is more important than money. This title is something that I hold dear to my heart. I got to be the PGF's history best dressed athlete, coach, whatever in the future. I'm going to be the best dressed affiliation of the PGF.
Because I have to be honest, the thought process I had was if he doesn't show up for the draft, do we Skype you in like you're an NFL draft and you're just in your suit, like where you're at right now? And I go, I just don't know if that holds the same thing to me because I love the idea of you sitting at home with the suit just like this. You already know you're on a team, but still acting like you're waiting to hear, like,
No, it ain't going to have the same effect if I'm not there in person. You got to get, head to toe. It's all about the details. So there's parts of my outfit that are going to need to be in person that just would not carry across the camera on the screen here.
I love that you're telling us right now. You're like, no, no, no. My drip doesn't zoom in, y'all. It's got to show up first. Have you already picked out the outfit, or is that something you assemble as you get closer?
I've got ideas, but it's definitely not set in stone. It's something that'll be a work in progress pretty much from now till March, and I might make changes last minute. Another one of my sponsors, Two Minds, that helps me travel and compete. They also keep me pretty well dressed. So kind of work in collaboration with them and see what we can come up with and what direction we go. Like might go super professional and be really sharp and clean cut, but at the same time, a lot of drip. Or 205 season, I showed up with a sleeveless sweater on and I looked great. And it's not exactly professional, but the drip was there. So we never know what direction we're going to go. And 205 being 205, we had to show off the guns. So we went that direction.
I feel that.
175, will be nice and diced up, but I think we might lean a little more towards like professional look. I know the Kings are trying to set a standard too, so I don't want to deviate from that plan either. I'm a team player, and we've got a reputation to uphold. And I think we're going to show up looking very sharp, but at the same time, it's something that's not just going to look like suit and tie bullshit. It's going to make people say, "Wow."
Well, hold on, hold on, hold on. First of all, don't
Nothing
get into
against
the
the
suit
suit
and
and
tie,
tie.
folks.
The suit and tie is great.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know we were gonna have words on this show right now, sir. I will tell you this right now. Before you even donned a suit and tie, this man was suit and tie. And now, oh, wouldn't you know? Oh, it's become the in fashion with the Kings. Now y'all show up in a suit. So I'm just letting everybody know here. Let's be very respectful here because my suit and ties actually match. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying
You're
that on
always
you.
well dressed.
I'm not saying that as a knock on you. I'm just saying other people have thrown together color palettes that I go, oh,
Oh, we've seen some pretty terrible draft outfits. I'm sure you could put the whole episode together on that, actually, because I mean, love the guys to death, but the jiu-jitsu community is not necessarily the most fashion sensible crowd either. So
not only that, but that they're sensitive about being called out for their lack of fashion. It's that you could tell them, like, hey, man, that doesn't work. And they're like, excuse me, I'm expressing myself. And I go, oh my God, where's Zoolander? Like, we got people who can't even be called out for their shit. I go, all right, you know what? Listen, dude, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to come classically dressed all the time. But I have to say, when I see somebody like Kevin who is heading y'all up, he looked sharp. And the first thing I noticed was the very first time he came in and he had the handkerchief there, I was like, you know what, dude? Most people aren't taking that extra step. So that told me a lot about the Kings. Then all of a sudden, I saw Travis, the reemergence of this shaggy dude showing up now and looking like $1,000,000. So
yeah,
very happy about that. And I must say, in addition to getting to train with you, and getting to hang out with the boys from the Kings last season. That is really one of my favorite PGF memories because I've always made it so that I kind of stayed a little bit more outside on the fray. so that I don't interrupt other people's things. But one of my favorite memories from last year was 100% going out for Chinese food with you guys, and then getting to know, or Thai food, and getting to know the competitors in a different way than when I'm interviewing them or I'm making small talk. And it was so cool to get insights into all of y'all's brains, but then seeing the progression of how the PGF by its nature has changed the lives and the way that people conduct themselves. So it was really cool to see how Travis has become this really functional and important element, how the team, even when they weren't winning, was bonded. And that was a real thing to see. So then seeing you there as an alum that was going to become a prominent reactivated player within just a few short months, I was very pleased to see all those things happen. So I have a lot of love for the Kings, and I look forward to seeing how that progresses this year. What, if anything, though, can you promise us for this 2026 year of the PGF, sir?
I mean, I think people can expect what they should already expect. My improvement from season to season, from 5 to 6, from 6 to 7, and now 7 to 9. Each season, I showed leaps and bounds improvement, and this is the breakthrough season where you're going to see not only the Cam Hurd that's really hard to score on and can be the stopper. I think that's what a lot of people are expecting, with Jet being the point scorer and me being the stopper. And that's not going to change. I'm definitely really hard to score on, especially in PGF at 6 minutes. But also, I think my contribution might be a little flying under the radar for this season. I think I'm going to score a lot more points than people were expecting. And I think that's just due to, the continued improvement from season to season, my continued improvement as a grappler that has consistently shown like significant improvement in short amounts of time. In a sport where usually it takes people, years to progress. I've kind of progressed at a light year pace over the last couple years. And I don't think that's going to be any different. I think I'm going to come out. I'm going to be a tough match for anyone, and I'm going to put up more points than people are going to expect.
I would agree. And I mean, you having been there a few times does give you some competitive advantages. But more than that, it's not just that you got better, it's that your S&C has gotten smarter, your nutrition has gotten smarter. Like, you have become this very seasoned grappler, and those reps all throughout 2025 weren't for nothing. So the grappler I think you're going into this time with a team with infinitely more structure and resources this time is a very dangerous combination. So I am very much rooting for you guys to have a fun season, though I have to be objective. So, I can say it now, but come like March, I got to roast you all the same. So just letting you know that as a heads up, because
I know how it goes.
yeah, I mean, kind of. It's a little harder now because I'm hearing things about certain owners these days, and I'm hearing that things are very fastly changing. We're now going to
Definitely.
start seeing people who were on the sidelines taking on bigger roles within the company, and I wonder how that's even going to change the production, the execution, what people have come to know from the PGF in the past. So there's a lot of fun stuff, I think, that is in the works. But having said all this, you mentioned all these improvements, these things you're going to do. One thing that has changed is now people live there for that amount of time. What is your involvement? Will you be flying back and forth, or are you going to be staying there live?
A little bit of both. I wish I could be out there the whole month. But as my situation is a little bit different than most of the grapplers, I'm kind of in a different pool where same guy, same lines as like, Paul Ardilla, Ernesto Rivera, and even like guys like Nick Matea. We got full time jobs outside of grappling, and we're kind of handling multiple things of being some of the top grapplers in the world, but we're also handling a full time job. I'm working a full time job. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I got a family to take care of as well. I've got a youth program that I've built up for youth jiu-jitsu that I'm one of the coaches for. I coach my daughter in soccer. Um, got a million things going on. So I wish I could be there the whole month, but it will be a little bit of both. I'm going to be there for the draft. I'm going to be there for week 1 to week 2 for the whole week. I talked with Ricky and Kevin and Travis, and we said, as a veteran, I think it's important for me to be there as a leader and kind of bring the team together. That first week's really important in making guys feel comfortable, making the team cohesive, and just playing the role of, being there for new guys and leading the way to set the tone for the season. So I'll be there for a week in the first week, from week 1 to 2. And then some of those in between weeks, I'm going to be back and forth between Vegas and Virginia. I've got some work things that I've got to handle, some family things that I've got to handle, but I'll be back and forth. And then ultimately the final week, I'll be there for a week as well. So there'll be a couple weeks where I'll be there for a full week, and then a couple weeks where I'm going to be traveling back and forth. So it's definitely a lot on my agenda, but for the PGF, I'll do anything. I'm so grateful, and I love being a part of it so much. I'll do anything to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's the reason why I ask this is it's a whole different element now, the staying there, in addition to competing, where we did see that, yes, there are some bonds that happen with the team that way, but it does change things. And that was one element. But we did see a couple people last year kind of traveling a little bit differently, though the majority of the people stayed. And I wasn't sure how many people were going to do that experiment the whole time, because that was a 6-week period. And that was it was a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it occurred to me though that you're a dude who's got a family, a professional life outside of all this, but that when it comes down to it, obviously you'll make the sacrifices. It's just a little bit more than somebody who's 17 or 18 being like, summer camp, I'll go away. All
Yeah.
good. Meanwhile, you're like, yeah, sounds fun, dude. I got shit to do.
I wish. I mean, I envy the guys that can be there for a month. Like, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to winning. I'm looking forward to showcasing my skills. But the thing that I look forward to almost more than anything with the PGF is getting better, like
Mhm.
being there with these high level guys, other competitors, coaches, legends in the sport. Just being around these people just elevates everyone as a competitor, as a grappler. I've tell people, when it was a week long back in the seasons that I did it, I was like, you get at least a month to 2 months better as far as
Mhm.
progress goes. Just hyper focused into one week. And now being over the span of a month, like, you can get 6 months to a year better in a month, working with these guys like Ricky Lundell that are, just legends and have so much to offer as far as just being a coach week to week. Now you got so much more time between matches to make adjustments and fine tune some things. And, being a wrestler, being able to be on Ricky's team and our styles being so similar, I am more looking forward to working with him almost than anything, just because I know it's going to make my game better. It's going to make me compete and perform well at PGF and also at ADCC trials, which is right around the corner after PGF ends. So I'm looking forward to the improvement that's coming and the opportunity. I wish I could be there for the whole month. I really do. I envy the guys that can be out there and just take full advantage of this opportunity.
Well said, sir. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I have to take care of some housekeeping business here, because I realized, even though you've been on the show a ton, we've never actually gotten your official story. So we heard bits and pieces of it, but I'd like it put into the public record here. That's really what this is about. We're making sure that when aliens come down and they figure out how this all works, that we have documented every grappler's progression and how they got into it. So, sir, I know wrestling was it for you at the very beginning, but were you playing other sports before you went into wrestling? Because that predated jiu-jitsu. So did anything predate wrestling for you in your athletic experience?
Yeah, I mean, when I started playing sports, I was 5 years old, and I played everything all year long. I played baseball, I played football. I started wrestling when I was 5. I was on the swim team at one point. I did karate when I was younger. I was always looking for something to keep me busy. I was ADHD as hell, still am. So my parents were looking for something to get me to channel my energy. into. And honestly, football was my favorite sport growing up, but I didn't really have the size for it. I didn't really grow until I got to college. Um, and I enjoyed wrestling. I loved wrestling. I was so fortunate to be in an area that had a youth program that was run by the high school coach. And so I started working with my eventual high school coach when I was 5 years old, and I got to go through the youth program, through the middle school program, into the high school program, and wrestling pretty quickly kind of became my thing. I had a natural knack for it after I won my first tournament as a youth athlete. And, my coach, not blowing smoke up my parents' ass, was kind of like, he's got something here. So maybe think about focusing a little bit more on the wrestling than all the other things. And so that became the focus. By middle school, I was only playing baseball, football, and wrestling. And then by high school, I was only wrestling. So, and it was year round. There was no real off season for 4 years all through high school. And then that led over into college where I wrestled at Virginia Tech. I wrestled under Kevin Dresser, who was the head coach there, who's now at Iowa State. And, I grew up a Virginia Tech fan. Go Hokies. My dad, my cousins, uncles, they all went to Virginia Tech. I grew up right down the street. So honestly, when I was younger, we had season tickets to the football games. I wanted to play football for Tech. Size became an issue. Wrestling became my sport. And right around the same time of when I was getting into college, Kevin Dresser took over the program at Virginia Tech, which was on the verge of getting cut. I mean, especially with all the Title IX things, the wrestling team wasn't anything until Tom Brands came through there, and then he left and took his whole squad to Iowa. And then Kevin Dresser came in and saved the program and turned it into a top 10 program every year for over a decade. Even after he left, the success has carried on. So got to wrestle at D1 level at Virginia Tech, and, got exponentially better at wrestling, living the D1 lifestyle of, having a nutrition coach, having strength coach, multiple workouts a day, private workouts with your coaches like Coach Yetzer, who was one of my top coaches who worked with me a lot while I was in college. And he's now running a program at Roanoke College, and he's done an incredible job there. So, you know, being a wrestler and getting to have that experience of wrestling D1 eventually carried over into starting jiu-jitsu a few years after I graduated. There was a little span of where I went into my professional career, didn't really do much other than just lift weights, and then met a guy at the gym who was a jiu-jitsu guy, and we started talking about wrestling, and he was like, you should try jiu-jitsu. This was during COVID when we were supposed to be staying away from everybody, and I decided to go do jiu-jitsu instead, and then I never stopped. I just stayed with it. I loved it because it was like similar enough to wrestling, but I was getting my ass kicked. So I was like, all right, I got to figure this out, but I'm good enough to know that I can eventually get good at this. It's just going to take the same thing that it took to get good at wrestling. You got to take your licks first, and you got to keep showing up. And so that's, fast forward now, started Jiu-Jitsu 2020. Here we are, beginning of 2026. I'm ranked in the world at no-gi grappling. And, again, the progression has happened really quickly. A lot of that is due to my wrestling background, but also a lot of that is just due to my mindset and my coaches and my teammates.
Agree. Let's chart back just here for a second. For you, sir, what do you remember about your very first class?
Getting choked a lot. Trying to double leg everybody and getting guillotined with the gi on too. I started at a school they only had one no gi class a week, so most of my training was in the gi. Um, and yeah, just getting like immobilized by brown belts to the point where I couldn't move, dude, like with their grips on the gi and everything. And then that plus just me trying to power through some double legs and getting guillotined to the point where I was like, all right, maybe head outside is not the way to take people down in jiu-jitsu. Maybe I need to leave my head on the inside. And then, eventually that leads to me learning the front headlock system and how similar that is to wrestling and the crossover with jiu-jitsu and kind of developing my own game there. But yeah, the first class of jiu-jitsu was just like, wow, I thought I was tough and I just got handled by like 145-pound blue belt that knew how to choke me and laid on his back the whole time. So yeah,
Can I ask
good
this?
times.
What was like the first move that you kind of felt like you owned that was something that you really connected with? And what was kind of the turning point for that? Because a lot of people, when they come from wrestling, they do have a similar language that they speak, even if it's not perfectly aligned.
Yeah, for me, it was the front headlock system and guillotines,
Mm.
darces, things like that. Just chokes from front headlock. I'm still trying to sharpen my game up, but that's definitely my A game. And as far as submission grappling goes, is being able to submit from front headlock. And that was kind of the first thing that was like, all right, this is pretty similar to wrestling, but now I'm just allowed to choke people, so even better.
That's fair. So, okay. One thing I always like to ask people, just so we can have it on the public record as well. When did you actually fall in love with jujitsu? Because at a certain point, you have to do something with this that's more than just a hobby, and it's a kind of insane pursuit. Clearly, you being the extreme version of the insane, because you don't just do something to be like, I'll go to this local tournament. You're flying everywhere. You're competing at these insane tournaments and pushing your body to limits that most people they don't. So for you, when did you actually fall in love with the sport and when did you know it?
For me, after I switched to where I'm at now at Ascend Jiu-Jitsu and I met my coach, Sean Stootman, they were more competition, no-gi focused gym. So once I got in there, I was like, I've got the tools and the environment now to be able to train and compete. Not necessarily at the highest level, but I knew I could compete. And, I wanted to kind of just test myself, see how far I could go. And that just kept going further and further and further as I was having success at lower belts. And then, competing at my first ADCC Open, which was the first one in Vegas as a blue belt, having a little bit of success there. Um, and then when I went and I did double gold pans at Master One blue belt, and then I went and I won worlds at Masters One blue belt. I got second at the open class, and I was like, all right, well, I've done it good enough for Masters One, and I feel like I'm in some of the best shape of my life. Um, let's try some adult divisions now that I'm getting into purple belt. And then, so I kind of started getting my feet wet in the adult divisions at some of the IBJJFs, more of the ADCC Opens, and then like stepping up against some people that I looked up to and having matches with them and being like, all right, well, I'm literally fighting some of the people that I've like looked up to, like Andy Varela. I got to fight at one of the ADCC Opens in Arizona, and he submitted me. But it was kind of for me just stepping across from him and being on the same stage as him and being like, I can do this. Like I didn't win, but I'm not supposed to win yet. But yet I'm still out here, doing what 99.9% of guys my age won't do. And then that honestly just motivated me to be more rare, to be the case where, like, yeah, nobody else my age will do this. And that's why I'm going to do it tenfold. So just slow progressions of like getting more and more confidence and really realizing that God put this dream, this like feeling inside of me of wanting more and wanting more. And I haven't really found the threshold yet of this is it. This is as far as I can go. So I'm just continuing to venture out and find how far it really can go.
Dude, that's awesome because obviously if you follow you, you know how important faith is to you, but to actually have this calling that is complemented and encouraged there, I think that explains why you've been able to take these big leaps and that you've been able to just say like there's no way you're going to know this is going to work out other than just believing in it and seeing it through. So for you, man, I'm glad that you've been able to pair those things together. The effects of it have been incredible thus far in. So I just wanted to compliment you for all that stuff and really make sure that as we continue to see, we kind of know more than just your why. We talked about your why the last time, but actually spelling it out to see that progression, we're just at the top of the 6th year. But when you really put it together, if you started wrestling at age of 5, you already had combat experience. It was just a
Yeah.
different rule set, a different mentality, but it also helps to explain why you've been so incredibly fun to watch. So we're still on this journey all these years later of watching you do incredible things, and it's only going to continue to get better. Sir, what I would love to do right now, I'd love to put a pin on the conversation because we're going to see each other very soon. And when that happens, there's going to be probably some drip to talk about. You're probably going to come on the live broadcast that we do out there, I'm sure, talk trash about other people's appearances and whatnot, making your claim to be number one. We'll see. We're a very coveted prize, I know, to be named best dressed on our show. But for you, sir, let's go ahead and do some shout outs to anybody who has helped you in 2025 and who you anticipate will be helping you in the 2026 year. So give thanks to anybody who has helped you, including your sponsor, sir. Camera's on you.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you to Jesus Christ. Thank you again to the one who put this crazy dream in my head and reminds me daily that the dream is not random. It is for a reason. And he's given me these abilities and these opportunities and these amazing things that just keep lining up and helping me further and further my career. So I couldn't be more thankful to my Lord who's really blessed me with a great life. My family, my wife, my kids, who are my why. I want to give them something to be proud of, something to be like, Dad chased a crazy dream and he made it happen, so I can do anything that I want when I grow up. And I hope that's what they learn as they get older. Thank you to Lasso, my sponsor. They've helped me travel. They've helped me compete. Registration fees, hotels, rental cars. They've really helped me gear. Obviously, some of the best gear in the game. Very cool cowboy aesthetic. Kind of fits the persona as well. So I'm just very blessed to be able to work with Lasso, who's a sponsor that I align with very well. Two Minds, like again, shout them out. Good friend of mine, Jesse Dong, who's been helping sponsor my journey, carries all my flights, takes care of my travel. So I can't thank them enough. My team at Ascend Jiu-Jitsu, my coach, Sean Stoopman, my teammates who are tough as shit. And, I am hoping to see them start stepping up and competing a little bit more. They already are on the ADCC level, IBJJF, but I'm really encouraging a lot of my teammates to get into some of these PGF qualifiers because I train with literal killers that just fly under the radar because we're not one of the main teams on the scene. So thank you to my team. Thank you to my coach. Thank you to Asim, my strength and conditioning coach, who literally makes me look like Zeus when I'm in peak performance. Helps me stay healthy, injury free, builds my programs, works with me, talks to me through any injuries or any travel or any adaptations we have to make. I'm truly thankful to work with him. Peak Performance, Massage and Recovery, one of my local sponsors here who takes care of me and helps my body recover, gives me therapy, massage, recovery, cupping, scraping, all that good stuff. If you're in Northern Virginia, work with Peak Performance. They've been voted Loudoun's best. I can't tell you how many times. They're great people, great staff. They know what they're doing. Trying to think who else. Alpha Boost. A lot of people, in our sport might be familiar with peptides, and I can tell you that they work and that you need to get with a company who third party tests their stuff often, as Alpha Boost does. Um, Highest quality, purity, and the results speak for themselves. If you haven't seen, check out my Instagram. Just look at a picture with me with my shirt off. They're part of the reason I look like that. So thank you to Abdi at Alpha Boost. I'm trying to think any other sponsors I'm missing. I think I got everybody. But yeah, I've got an incredible sports support system pushing me forward. And I'm just so thankful again to be in the position that I'm at, to be able to do this for fun. Um, and it's not just for fun. This is something that is near and dear to my heart, is competing and really trying to write my name in the history's books of jiu-jitsu in some shape or form. I work a day job to pay the bills, but this is the dream, and I'm working extra hard on my dream and trying to really capitalize on this while I'm young enough to do it.
Kudos to you, sir. And I would like to single out two things here. First, what a freaking hashtag humble brag it is to be able to be like, I mean, you just see me without my shirt. You're welcome. What better results is that? How dare you, sir? But number two, we have to talk about our mutual friend Asim here real quick because an interview can't be complete without that. Um, okay. First, let's start with the good stuff. Asim, love him. Like a transformative figure in my life. So thank you for introducing me to him, a lifelong friend. I will love this dude forever. But I need some intel. Like, what hurts him? Because I need to know when I'm lifting what I'm lifting, and I am cursing his name out. Like, are we talking heel hooks? Because he's a pretty solid purple belt, I imagine, because I've seen the photos and the evidence. Pretty strong. So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of things we're talking about here. And you know what? He might not have made it to this part of the interview. That's why I saved it for the end. So I'm trying to figure out here what hurts.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced that he's human quite yet. Like you say, he's a great purple belt. His leg lock game is pretty on point. He's emphasizing more of his guard play game. Definitely working a lot on his leg locks. Obviously, he's strong as an ox. He runs a great business, a great gym. He's very successful. It's kind of hard to poke holes in his armor, to be honest with you. I can't, say enough good things about him. Um, I really can't. I don't know if I could tell you his
The
weakness.
answer
I
is
would
this.
try.
This is
I
bullshit. I
don't know.
have nothing to work on. I asked you for a weakness, and you're like, man, he's such a good person. He's so strong.
I mean, I don't even know. I guess he could. You know that saying they say about guys with big trucks.
What is that?
He's got a big truck, and he traded his big truck. Now he's got a big Jeep. So I don't know, but maybe,
Okay. All right. Listen,
maybe
of
I don't
zero
know.
help. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. It's just, Cam, listen, bro. As it is, I've already told you the aging grappler that I am. We're trying to figure out shortcuts to where we need to go. I'm not trying to marathon roll with that guy. And if I am, I know what he's capable of. So we got to play this smart. So, really, the takeaway from this is just cheat, Tanya Harding the knee, and then just dicily go for that.
Yes, sweep the leg.
Got it. Done. All right. Eddie Guerrero. Done. That's pretty much all I'm going to do to him now. So I'm done. Uh, hey, but I do have to compliment you, man, because Asim, real talk, has just been such a great person to have. And he's part of your inner circle that you widen the circle to include me. And I can tell you this, I've gotten compliments on my side from the boys at my gym. And I will tell you this one story before we cut it close. But I usually teach and then I will roll with people because I don't like doing the workouts. But if I trick myself into rolling, then I'll do the workouts. So a lot of times, some blue belts under belts, white belts, they'll see me be like, hey, let's roll for 30 minutes because then I got to do the workout. And they're like, why don't you just the workout? And I was like, I don't want to do it. I'll stay on my phone. I'll just literally doom scroll for 20 minutes and then I'll be like, fuck. But because it's late at night, it's just me and there's a smoke shop right next door to us at the gym I teach at. And he has seen me by myself doing the workouts so much where it's just him next door and me next door that at the end of the night, he will knock on the door and he brings me a water every night. And I was like, what's up, bud? And he goes, man, I just see you out there. You're insane, bro. Like you show up and you do it and I see you all the time. And I had told my wife this, where I was like, it's just a really simple gesture, but it is like having somebody when nobody's watching you saying, like, I see you, bro. And I thought, I can't even begin to explain how wild it is that Asim has that influence that his program he gives me now bestows an additional person being kind and like saying like, hey man, I want to get involved in my journey and do this, and I want to start
Yeah.
lifting and I want to do that. And all I'm doing is there's no inspiration here other than me grumbling and being like, oh, how many am I supposed to do? Fuck, I don't want to. Fine. So like he doesn't see any of me bitching about it. He just sees me doing the work and is like, way to go, bro. And I was like,
That's
did you
cool.
see me not doing the workout for 20 minutes? Like literally on my phone. He goes, no, man.
Still did it though.
Still did. But I wanted to pay that forward to you and tell you that story because I think it's a great example of how Asim sets this program for us. We take our marching orders every week. We look at the app. We curse them out as we're doing it. And then
Yeah.
we all have weird benefits that we know are going to happen, whether we gain a little bit of muscle mass or we get a little bit faster or smarter about how we do stuff. And then it has these unexpected things that we're like, I never expected that. I never thought you expected, I'm sure, to hear me going like, hey, bud, how the fuck do I like do this? And then,
Yeah.
good things continue to happen. So thank you for that, sir.
Yeah, man. I'm happy. I think, it's a good group of guys. And when you get good group of guys together that have a common goal, things like that happen. It has butterfly effects that go outward and they affect people that you might not even know. You might inspire someone. Like you said, you don't want to do the workout, but you do it anyways. And to you, that might not be a big deal, but someone else sees you showing up and doing that every day. And they're like, shit, I want to do that too. If he can do it, maybe I can do it. And then it just gives a little bit of spark, a little bit of inspiration to someone. And that's all it takes to set that momentum and snowball from there, and then next thing you know, they're a year into their fitness journey and they're seeing real gains. And it all started with just, I saw somebody else and it lit a fire in me. And then that just spreads positivity. So
Absolutely.
happy that it reached you. And I'm glad to be a part of that, that process.
Good man. But I do have to also put you to task. I'm not happy that Ernesto's doing it. So like, score one, lose one. I felt like you
Yeah.
got me, but then when you got him doing it too, I was like, nah, -1 points now.
Hey, bro, tell me about it. He's someone that's probably going to be in my division. And a lot of these opens and trials is like, fuck, man, I wish he didn't find out about this, but hey, I'm
Meanwhile, we're
glad he
talking
did.
to
If
me
it
like,
was
hey,
easy, it wouldn't be worth it. So,
Asim, we're gonna pull back on his lifting. How about we just have him do some random nonsense? He's gonna be doing a lot of stretch bands for no reason.
maybe
A
get him
plus.
to max out deadlifts the day before trial. That might be a good idea.
I love that. Well, Cam, I appreciate you, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming weeks, but stay on that grind. I feel if the progression of 2025 is any indication, 2026 looks very promising for you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Again, a great year 2025, but that's all over now. I'm excited to capitalize and make 2025 look like nothing compared to 2026.
That's what's up. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, I'm in different clothes. I had to immediately run to 10 Round Tuesday after conducting that interview, so suck it. Your boy's got to train too. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying here is thank you so much to Cam Hurd for stopping in. Cam is a huge, huge friend here at the show, and I wish him nothing but continued success. And it looks like he's going to have some fun this year at PGF. And man, I can't wait to see what he's going to look like when he goes back to this next ADCC trials. So, a very fun and busy year for him, and a very fun and busy year for us. We got so much to talk about before we get you on out of here. Just the reminders, the good stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching. Now, I told you I'd give you a prompt. Here is the prompt I'm going to give you. Who is the most stylish person in all of jiu-jitsu? You can base it on swag. You can base it off attire. You can base it off of whatever it is that you deem could be the best looking in their gis, no gis. I don't know what it is. But I think we're going to start determining some real factors here on who is most stylish in our sport. You can put that in our comment section as you like, comment, and subscribe. You can also check us out at patreon.com/grappling hour. For just $5 a month, you can see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies, roast Raf, Grappling Hour challenge, and everyone's favorite matches of the year. So we have so much content that we'd like to give away to you guys, and more growing content in the days to come. So there is that. You can also do us a solid and find us at whatever social media you got. We're at Grappling Hour on everything. And while you're at it, if you want some Grappling Hour merch, check us out at rafasparza.com/merch. Every cent that you spend there goes directly back into the show. It really does mean a lot to me when I see you guys at tournaments or just around the neck of the woods wearing your Grappling Hour merch. So I really do appreciate it. Last but not least, if you want to join us on our Discord, you can continue the conversations that we have here on the show. All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here on this episode. Be sure to look out for Cam as he makes his way back on out to PGF, where he'll be making his Style Swag debut on February 4th. And then a month later, it is going to be opening day for the PGF. So it's right around the corner here, folks. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to see that whole thing. I guess that's what I'm saying. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rafa Sparza. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.
Perfect.